I think the number 1 overall pick is super fun in this thing, don't you?
I don't want the pressure on me in this one. When we did our 22 mock and it was, or excuse me, 23 mock and it was Victor Wembanyama, I'm happy to take that one. But this one where it might be splitting hairs a little bit more, like, please, Sam, the floor is all yours.
So one player, as I said previously, has made an all-star game in this class, LaMelo Ball. One player has been a real tried and true standout in the playoffs, like a guy that looks like he was able to carry the load in a playoff series, in Anthony Edwards. I'm not taking either of those guys. I'm taking Tyrese Haliburton.
I knew it.
Number 1.
I knew it.
The reason for that is I think these guys are all so close, and you could make a case for any of them at number 1. And I think you would be reasonably within your rights to take any of them at number 1. If you believe in Anthony Edwards' shot creation, if you believe in LaMelo Ball's ability to dictate tempo and pace and just create an incredible offensive infrastructure, I think Tyrese Haliburton is the best of this trio at making guys better around him and making life easier for the guys around him. The leap that he's taken this year offensively is so substantial. And look, like, to some extent, it's a little bit unfair to LaMelo Ball, right? Because we haven't gotten to see LaMelo except for, 2.5 games before he got hurt this year. And LaMelo is not in a situation that is as well coached offensively, in my opinion. He doesn't have as much idealized talent around him. So I think LaMelo is the one where I think I could look back on this and be like, oh man, like, this guy was like a top 10 player in the league, right? Like, this is crazy to not take him at 1. He has that potential as a ball handler, as a creative playmaker off the bounce. I just think that what we've seen from Tyrese Haliburton as a playmaker, as a passer, as a shooter, I think that he's the one that can win in almost any situation. He can be your number 1 guy. He can be your number 2 guy. He doesn't need the ball to be as successful. I don't know if there is a number 1 guy in this class that I think can take you to the conference finals. Maybe Anthony Edwards is the guy that has the most upside to do that. But I think that because I don't really see a number 1 guy that takes you to the conference finals, top 5 player in the league at some point right now, I'm going to go with the guy that I think can be a number 1, as he's shown this year, on a team that has exceeded expectations and been great, but also has showcased that he can transition into the off-ball role a little bit easier. His ability to make life easier on his teammates, I think, showcases his ability to potentially play at the level of a number 2, number 3 option just a little bit easier, in making a superstar's life around him a bit easier.
He has turned into a transcendent passer, Sam, and it's more so about how he elevates every single person around him. He's averaging 11 assists a game right now in his 3rd NBA season. It's ludicrous what Haliburton is able to do on that side of the ball. I certainly understand the pick there, but I think it opens up an opportunity here for me with my first pick at number 2 to...
Oh, hold on. You have nothing else to say about Tyrese Haliburton?
I have a million things I could say about Tyrese Haliburton. Oh my God. Smart defender. I think that's one area we didn't necessarily talk about here with Haliburton. Smart defender.
That's actually the thing that separated him just a little bit more from LaMelo for me.
Yeah.
Look, Tyrese has not been awesome defensively this year. I think that he's had to take on a bigger offensive load, particularly the ability to contain dribble penetration on the ball has been a little bit worse. But I think that he is at least showcased in the moments that matter, that he hasn't played them yet, but like, he's showcased in end of game scenarios. He's showcased in, different circumstances that I think he will defend in a team concept when it matters. I don't think either he or LaMelo are awesome as team defender or as on-ball defenders by any stretch, but I do think that Haliburton, I buy more as a team defender that you can work around and can be a positive net defender by the time he's like 25 years old and fills out a little bit more physically even. And also, he doesn't have to dominate the ball. Like, his processing speed is so elite. it just comes down to the kind of offense that I want. Like you could play Tyrese Haliburton next to Trae Young and he can dominate the ball and Tyrese can play off of him that way. Or you can do what the Pacers are doing this year, where he's just the point guard and he's running the show and he's doing everything that is asked of him in that way. So it's that skill versatility for me, while also being a top 5 passer in the league, while also shooting 37% on high volume from 3 this year at 7 3-point attempts per game. He gets steals. He rebounds at a reasonable level. He doesn't turn the ball over. He has a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio this year. Yeah. This is the one for me, while also acknowledging that I might be leaving a bit of upside on the table with Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball.
Totally understandable, though, because the production has been so strong. And one thing we haven't seen is how he does actually play with really good all-star caliber players. This is an Indiana Pacers system that's give him the ball, surround him with shooters, and let him go. And I think that there's room for him to pop even a little bit more because of that processing speed and off-ball impact if he were to play next to another guy who's a developed all-star at that point.
Yeah. Okay. You are up at number 2.
So you have done.
By the way, real quick, I'm sorry. Before we go further, I want to note we're going out to 20 in this draft.
20.
We're not doing a full first round, but we're doing a little bit more than the lottery. There are like 22-ish guys that like I really truly want, which dovetails nicely with my colleague John Hollinger's idea of there being somewhere between 20 and 25 guys in every draft class that are reasonable, valuable players. We're going to go out to like 20 in this draft just because Adam and I can talk and we don't want this to go for 4 hours.
Well, and it works out perfectly because Poku is 23rd on my board. So, no,